he says, for instance, not only is the invisible, an infinite ocean compared to which the visible is like a speck of dust, but it permeates the visible itself. In other words, often the argument is that this reality, the physical reality, is contained within this large reality, is a sub-case, but that the larger realms of existence are vastly greater, and that we focused on simply this one domain. It is this purely earthly science, earthly man defined by rationalism and humanism, who developed 17th century science based on the domination and conquest of nature, who sees nature as his enemy, and who continues to rape and destroy the natural environment, always in the name of the rights of man, which are seen by him to be absolute. Just one or two more. The total mode, he refers to that total mode of knowing, which illuminates and transforms the being of the knower, and which already belongs to the eternal now, where the duality of knower and known is transcended. So you got the idea. Again, I've already spoken about the participatory nature of knowing when it comes to human experience. I don't want to spend more time on that. I guess I don't have to tell this group, but that about the great threat to the techno-scientific hubris and the institutions which sustain it that this phenomenon represents. Again, it gets into the multidisciplinary area. Come to see the UFO and alien counter phenomena in relation to other physical and experiential anomalies. In other words, there are other, but again, we tend to be, the near-death people, they have their group, and the dowsers, they have their group. And the people that study the psi phenomena, paranormal, mind-matter connections, they have their group. The people who study reincarnation, they have their group. But each kind of holds its territory rather sacred, and there's a great need to look at what do all these anomalies have in common. For one thing, they all operate in some way outside the ordinary space-time continuum. But there are many other matters that need to be looked at that I think would, if all these groups could get together and didn't hold on to, well, I can go here but not there, that kind of thing, it would be very effective. Appreciate more the esoteric and sacred nature of these phenomena. Now, I'm trying to explain what I mean by that. I began to get the idea a year or two ago that going in front of groups of people who really weren't able to hear these experiences, was not the right thing to do. That there's something about this that didn't fit. And when I asked Native people who came forward to say, "Oh, we know about this," I got a lot of support starting in the mid-1990s from Native medicine men who came forward to support me. Said, "We know about this. This is." I said, "Well, why haven't you come forward to before this?" Well, they said a lot of reasons for that. One is the anthropologists didn't know enough to ask the right questions. But but more fundamentally, the matter is sacred. We're talking about divine matters here. We're not talking about something that can be reduced to, let's study it only scientifically. Again, that's not against Western science, but there is a different way of respecting this phenomenon, these phenomena, that has made me feel that it has a kind of special sort of, it's touched by higher forces, and that to not recognize that and to just present it, let's get it across to people because it's real, is a violation in some way of what we're dealing with. Again, I've already referred to this: develop better collaboration among ourselves and more effective means of public education, especially the use of the media and public relations. Again, to resist this tendency we have to call each other names, to be divided among ourselves, to any time we can't go there, it somehow becomes a hoax. I'm not saying there are no hoaxes, but have you noticed the tendency that where something, you've just gotten to see something as really powerful and effective, and it strikes you as important and meaningful, and you're there, and then you read someplace in some UFO journal it's really a hoax. And how can we possibly evaluate every time somebody says a hoax? I have a suspicion that a lot of things that get called hoaxes is just that it's too good to be true, that people can't go there yet, which isn't to say that there are no hoaxes. I just think we need to be more sensitive to the way we get divided among ourselves and argue among ourselves. All right. Now, I want to move on to this matter of the case of the reptilians. And you'll think this is a rapid change of direction, and it sort of is at the moment, but not as much as I hope it won't seem too far from what I've been talking about. Well, you're familiar with the reptilian beings that experiencers encounter. They tend to, I don't know, this Will Boucher threw that one in. I don't vouch for this guy that's there. I mean, but they're described as tall, powerful, muscular, lizard-like, often with scales and a brow here and sort of a carapace on the chest, and they're sometimes they're said to not smell good, and writer David Chase referred to them as an ancient warrior race, proud, willful, domineering, territorial, physically aggressive, deceptive, emotionally manipulative, sexually intrusive, and potentially cruel. Their craft are Spartan, functional environments. In spite of their bad side, they also show a strong sense of duty and technical ability, and one reptilian was described as compassionate. Well, it's so I'm just going to quickly tell you a few of the cases that I've had of people that have had reptilian encounters. Start with Greg. Now, Greg is a physician in his 50s, and he has had a lifelong battle with his reptilian beings. They seem to struggle with him for his soul, and it's hard to know exactly how this began with him, but this is what I wrote about him at the time that I was working with him. He felt that certain reptilian beings were out to destroy him, seemingly out of a motive of revenge. They would do this by invading his soul and sucking the life energy out of me, out of my soul. It was unbelievably terrifying. He resisted these beings intensely, for he felt certain that his life had a purpose and that he must deal with this darkness and not suffer at the expense of it. But through this struggle, he discovered that the light is much stronger, and the battle was actually empowering and even enlightening. He felt a compassion for their pain and didn't want to lose a total connection with them. I think I want in some way to participate in their getting in touch with their souls. He said of them, I don't love what they do to me, I do care for them. And Karen, who I wrote about in Passport, came upon in one of our sessions, we had many, many sessions, but she, for the first time, encountered what she described as encounters with ugly, scaly, lizard-like beings that seemed in some ways to represent her struggle with some reptilian energies of her own.